We are continuing in the 20th letter, a lengthy one. As we mentioned, the Alter Rebbe wrote this several days before his passing. That gives us a deeper understanding of creation, of the physical world, as opposed to the spiritual worlds. So we have been speaking about the divine attributes of God, spheros. They are the conduit that God creates the world. Ultimately, only God can create something from nothing. And the conduit is the 10 divine attributes that are totally bound up and united in one with God. And specifically, there's a light vessel, as we explained yesterday, that make up the divine attributes, just like a body and soul makes up life. So the life of the divine attributes is vessel, light and vessel, as we explained. It is the power of finitude of the Almighty, as opposed to the power of the infinite. That is a creative process. Now, let's understand now souls and how souls fit into this mix. So, souls emerge from a union of the divine, of Zeir Anpin and Malchus. Zeir Anpin means small faces. Small faces refer to the divine emotive attributes. Chesed, Gvura Tiferes Netzach Chod Yesod, the 6 emotive attributes, divine ones. Together there's a union, and that's the male part of the divine, together with the female part of the divine, Malchus. Through that union, there emerges souls in the world of Atzilus. In the world of Atzilus. Now, they are before they descend, those souls, into lower worlds, Bria Yitzir Asiya, and then ultimately into a physical body in this world, they are not created with they're not a yesh, they're not substantial, they're not separate from the divine and have a distinct identity of their own. Rather, they resemble the godliness in an intense contraction that is similar to the vessels of the 10 divine attributes in the world of Atzilus. Just as that is the power of the finite, of the divine finite, so they have that quality of the divine attributes, the souls that are of the world of Atzilus. Now, how does this work exactly? Because where does finitude, ultimately the contraction that allows the power of finitude to come? So this is a bit of a lofty idea that is brought down from the Arizal and Eitz Chaim, the concept that before the power of finitude, where does the power of finitude come from? Well, there's just God, Ein Sof, a great contraction on the Ein Sof that creates a void called a Makam HaChalal, a empty space, a void. This is obviously not in a physical sense at all, and not even in the spiritual sense in the way we would think of it, the way it is. But that void now allows for a kav, a line, which that's the power, the source of the finitude power of God that vests itself into the 10 divine attributes. This is before attributes. No attributes there. But it's the power of finitude that vests itself in the 10 divine attributes and also in the souls. This is a great contraction When we speak about contraction, usually, that contraction is limited. But this is a great contraction because you're talking about from God, beyond any form of description. So there's a great contraction in order that there is a void that allows from that void that the power of the potential power, it's not even the power yet, not actualized, but the potential power called the kav. I believe that kav means line, translated, but it means, right? Line has a beginning, a middle, an end, and so on. Meaning it's the power of finitude. From there, that is diffused into the souls of Atzilus and make it divine. It's divine. Now, it's interesting, parenthetically, so the Alter Rebbe says that there are souls that come from this world, and they, from this world of Atzilus, and they come into this world undiminished from that level. Now, our souls, probably most of us in our generation, come from the world of Asiya. So that's so. In other words, a soul migrates and evolves and picks up stuff from various worlds as it comes down and finally comes into this world, into a physical body. That's our souls. But there are great righteous people that they don't. They're so lofty, their soul. They don't migrate sort of through the worlds. I mean, they go, but they don't pick up anything in those worlds as it comes down, as it evolves. And therefore they come and they haven't changed as distinct entities from the divine. They remain the same level that they were in Atzilus. So attached to God. So much so that if they were to possibly sin, God removes their soul before even that occurs. That's how attached they are. With this, maybe we have a little understanding of the idea that God takes the good ones, seems to take them away. Seems to be why God takes away the good ones, because they're such lofty souls. I mean, based on this idea, I'm bringing a conclusion. Such a lofty soul that comes into this world, and it may do wrong. And before it does anything wrong, God removes that soul, takes away that soul. This is all parenthetical that the Alter Rebbe says. But interesting idea. We don't understand it, but at least gives us a little inkling of the reason, because they're so attached that the possibility of being disattached, they have to be removed from this world. In any case, so then if these souls that we're talking about, right, come from the world of Atzilus, before they come into a body, are they not, if they're divine, how come they don't have the capability of being creative, creating things? Because ultimately they have a divinity, but they emerge from the 10 vessels of the divine attributes. They emerge, so even though they are divine, but they don't have the properties of divinity to be able to create. Only the 10 attributes that are bound up in one with the Almighty have that power of creating something from nothing. And only God has that force. Because when you're creating something from nothing, means you're creating something that's the antithesis of what you are. God is not a yesh. He's not substantial. And from substantial in the sense that, substantial means, this is substantial. It has it's a tehillim, very substantial, but that's in the spiritual. But in the physical sense, right? It's got a width, it's got a length, it's got a thickness. There's something substantial, right? This mouse, substantial. Hold it, right? Grasp it. Okay, they're substantial even in the spiritual sense. But God isn't. In any manner, has a substantiality to him. Beyond it. In a way that we can't even comprehend and have experience of. So, he's creating something the exact opposite of him. Only he can do that. And he gives that power to the vessels of spheres of Atzilus, because they have the Ein Sof power within them. So they are able to do it. But souls, even though they're lofty souls that come from the world of Atzilus and have in them the power of God, of the that's vested within them, but they emerge and become separated from the vessels, and therefore they cannot be conduits for creation of yesh me'ayin, something from nothing. So they're not divinity literally. They're divine. They're not separated from the divine, but they're not divinity mamish in actuality, and in the sense that therefore they have the power as that which is divine to create something from nothing. Only God does, as we just explained, that invests that, because even the vessels, the lights and the vessels of the attributes, divine attributes, are bound up in one, in a perfect unity with Ein Sof, with the limitlessness of God. They are the power of finitude, that therefore give the capability of creating something. Right now, but this we can also understand, well, if God is the one who's creating something from nothing, it's only his power, what do you need the attributes for? Because the attributes, in fact, are what give the creation its finitude quality. If it came from the Ein Sof, the limitlessness of God, of the ayin, of that which is beyond what we can comprehend, then there wouldn't be a finite creation. There'd be a creation of infinity. So therefore we need the divine attributes for that. Abstract ideas that are crucial for us to try to understand. So we understand a bit of a soul now. Lofty. So the godly soul, that's where it comes from. That's vested in in us. But even though it comes from the world of Atzilus, it migrates through the worlds and it picks up, so therefore it has altered in its migration, me and you. But there are some lofty souls of real righteous people that in its migration, it doesn't pick up any of the qualities of the other worlds and therefore becomes separate from the divine. And as we explained, even though they're not divinity proper, because they become emerge from the divine and therefore not the divinity proper, but they're not separated from the divine. And therefore when they come into this world, those lofty souls, the moment that there might be a possibility of separation, sometimes their soul is taken away. Powerful idea. But yet, don't have the power to create something from nothing. Only God does. That's it, folks. Might have to listen to it again to make sure there's clarity. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you From Chabad Zurich and Kadesh, Montreal, Canada, it's a privilege and pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a wonderful day and a good Shabbos.